Hey everybody, it's Kenny K here again with another movie from 1987 called Slaughterhouse. Now, the movie basically is your typical slasher movie setting. It, sub, IMDb says it's a slasher movie, a teen movie, and a just plain horror movie. Horror comedy, actually. And there's not a lot of comedy in this movie. You've got a few things that you would think, okay, maybe if you like that stuff, you get a few chuckles out of it, but it's not a lot. So basically, this you have the Bacon and Sons, which is an abattoir, and then you have a slaughtering house, and then you have a slaughterhouse, sorry, and then you have slaughterhouse and co or something. Yeah. Now the they want to make a deal with the other slaughterhouse, which is also getting is out of almost out of business. They the big slaughterhouse in Co still has people working for them, but then the bank wants to buy it, maybe keeping their workers there, but new owners, and they want to sell it to Lester Bacon. He's the father of Buddy Bacon, and that's just the person who we're gonna talk about. Of course, Lester is saying "fuck you" against the sheriff, against the lawyer, and against the owner of the other company. So he says, "Fuck you! These hands were made by cutting meat with knives and without mechanics." And then the other said, "Yeah, you should have followed mechanics because now you're out of business, and mechanics are the way to do it these days. You can't just use knives only." No, yeah, he's like, "Fuck you and fuck you again." And then the sheriff says, "You got 30 days to decide, or we're gonna evict your ass." Okay, so evict your ass. So he's of course he's fairly angry, and he his his son called he's played by John Joe B. Barton. He also is a screenwriter. I think he's one of the screenwriters of this movie. Well, and Lester Bacon is played by Don Barrett. Now, what for me is sort of a they call him pigface Buddy. So he's sitting there with his hogs, the pigs, but the black ones, and he's always sitting there in the middle. He's dirty looking. He stinks like pig shit, probably. He, but he doesn't have like, and that's a shame. That would make him a lot more creepier. That he had a nose like this, a pig nose and a scar or something like this. That would make him so much creepier because he has a really creepy weapon. This It's almost an axe, but it looks more than a giant cleaver that he holds. Like this big of a cleaver and then this big of a handle. So he got cool things to do. And then at some point, there's a group of teens and they want to make a movie, and they thought, oh, yes, a horror movie, fan movie, and they're this going to the slaughterhouse, this from Lester and Buddy, and they think there's nobody there, and they're like playing idiots. I'm not sure what they're wanting to do. They have these cheap masks on, and the camera girl is laughing and just doing this. I don't understand. And then eventually a couple stays behind, and they're they hear the sound of pigs squealing. Now he's the guy is being an asshole, and he's fucking those pigs up with a shovel, not hitting them, but just making roughing up their cage so they're scared. But those were Buddy's hogs. So and eventually he stops and he still hears squealing. That's Buddy. Buddy can't talk. Buddy can only squeal like a pig. And the only one who understands him is Lester. He comes there and slashes the guy up. Then the girl. Then the dad says, "What did you do, Buddy? That's not how we want to do it. I gave you that cleaver not to do this." At least were clean cuts, my boy. In the beginning, he's kind of like shocked what he's doing, but then he slowly says, "Okay, it's okay, boy," because there is a deputy who has a suspicion of the couple that stayed there because he was also there making out with his wife, and he goes towards the day after he goes towards the place where he saw the couple, and eventually he doesn't find them, but he does find Buddy, and his hand is caught. He has his revolver, and his hand is caught between the door, and he's trying to get it out, and of course he hears something chopping, and his hand. It's a cool practical effect. Is off and bleeding. Eventually, Buddy takes a gun, and he doesn't take the gun. He takes the hand because the hand's still on the trigger, and it just. And he leaves the hand with it, and he just lets him bleed out. But the funny thing with Buddy is they wanted to make him a giant, so bigger than everyone on set. But the guy was 5'9". His dad was bigger. You see, most of the people were bigger than him. He actually had to stand on a platform sometimes to be bigger, or camera angles, that you from below and up, and you can make him look bigger. But he wasn't a big guy. He was a fat guy, a broad big guy and a fat guy. But he wasn't a big guy. Now, so of course, the deputy being missing, the sheriff starting to, what the hell is going on here, and his other deputies on vacation, so he doesn't have any deputies anymore. Then at some point, the wife of the deputy that's missing, that lost his hand and is of course dead, she goes to the same place where wait, sorry, my dog is come on little piggy. So they go to the she goes to the same place where she oh no, sorry, no, it's different. So that's the moment of comedy. It's the dog. It's always the dog. She's always messing around here when I'm doing my videos. Come, look. If you're here, come and ask. Here you go. Hello. Everybody, meet Chica. Okay, so no, eventually Buddy has still the mind of a child, basically, and does what his father asks him to do. So he marked the sheriff for dead, and the lawyer, and the other company official, from that owns the other company. So he puts on the clothes of the deputy and the hats, and the gun in his holster, and you see that the clothes are too small for him, so everything has ripped around his arms because these arms full, but fatty arms, and he's playing sheriff, and going with the car and just driving around, and then getting a radio call. I think the deputy's name is Dave. Dave, is it you? Dave, are you there? and then and then the girlfriend, the wife, she sees his squad car. She goes after him, and so the squad car is standing there, and then you have, now this is something so stupid. The wife steps out. Now, the only reason why, okay, so she steps out, first of all, and she goes to the side window of the car, and she sees it's another dude, and she sees it, Buddy's it, and Buddy's like, and eventually Buddy goes after her with a baton. Now, she steps back in the car. Good thing. Second good thing, put your keys in the car and get the fuck out of there. She doesn't. Why? I don't know. Did she step out and just throw her keys in the brush? The best explanation would be she lost her keys while running away. But I didn't see her losing her keys. So she had her keys. I think she had her keys. And usually Americans, it's in American suburbs, especially those rural areas, there's not a lot of crime, so they usually don't lock their doors or don't lock their car, and the keys are still in the ignition. So in the rural areas, probably in New York or something like that, they'll probably close everything. But there, it's the sticks. But she's lying there on the front seat, and he's trying to get through the glass with the baton. And then, a baton should, if you have some string, that should go through a front window, right? I'm just thinking here out loud. I'm not sure. A baton is made of rubber, hard rubber, so maybe that's the case. Then he takes a big ass stone and drops it on the front window, and he bursts. And again, then what does she do? Instead of again driving away, she just runs out of the car and she gets knifed. And that's the end of Dave's wife. And they apparently he had some what he called screamers, which are kids, and he basically leaves them all alone, without a mom, without a dad. And that's just that's that slasher stupidity, if she was halfway the movie, so it would be too soon that people discover him, right? Too soon. So let's just start making this cruel, divisive plan to lure the lawyer and the owner of the other slaughterhouse to his address, only with an hour different, with an hour in between. The lawyer is the first to come, and I think he has probably the most explicit, and again, all practical effects. That's something I really like. He has the most explicit death. Buddy is hanging above him. Buddy takes his head and basically squeezes his head like a melon. You know what I mean? And you see the blood coming out of the face basically, and it's almost squished to death. He probably broke his brain, and that was a cool kill scene. So you can see that the guy has power, buddy, right? And the other guy, he gets. So we're going to spoilers, by the way. So if you do not want to hear anymore, subscribe. That would be so cool to do. It's free, no hassle. But go on. The other guy arrives, and he is. I mean, he's standing there, and Buddy's standing behind him like this. You know, like holding a pole and being a little bit, you know, being intimidating. And the father's saying, "This here, this is good quality," and then the owner says, "This is shitty quality. Look, it's all rusted. You can't use that anymore, Lester." Oh yeah, we'll see. He puts the green light on, and Buddy takes the cop with his arms, and he throws him in. And you don't really see blood, you just see him going in, but then you see the aftermath where you see the blades rotating, and you see guts and all the entrails and whatever between the blades. That wasn't really a cool kill, but like I said, the lawyer is the coolest kill of the movie in my opinion. The one you see the most, you see, yeah. Other kills, that and the slashed hand was in my opinion, because the slash kills with the giant axe meat cleaver, you don't see them really. It's like just and you see blood and then gone. You know what I mean? It's always a short hit, some blood and gone. So you never see anything like that. Now he took out two of the three men he wants to take out. Now apparently these other kids still want to make their movies, so they are going back, and it's thunder and shit like that. So it's just it's a perfect moment to do this. Let's go back to the abandoned slaughterhouse, and let's do it. Now eventually they go. Again, like in every horror movie, you stay there, I go there, you go there, and I go here. So everybody's separated. That's always okay. You know, okay, this is a trope, right? So eventually, the girl that first has to stay. There are two girls and then two guys. One of the girls is the chief's daughter. So eventually, the girl, the other girl that I don't know the name of, but the first girl, she gets nabbed by Buddy. Don't see her die, but she's dead. Then the other guys, they have the masks on, the cheap market mask, supermarket mask on, and you see Buddy axing them like, you know, and one he I think puts on a hook, and fairly not tame kills, but things we didn't seen before. Like I said, mediocre at that part, and then they catch Liz Borden. Now, Lester calls her, "Oh, little Lizzie Borden." Now, Lizzie Borden, if this is a coincidence or not, but Lizzie Borden was a true American figure from, I think, begin the 19th century, that I thought she killed her dad and mom with an axe and chopped them in a little bitty pieces. And she was really. It took a long time before she was caught, and she kept them in the basement. Back then, you know, didn't have like a fridge, so it stank like it was a stank like hell, and that's why the investigation came her way. And so, is this a wink to Lizzie Borden? Maybe, I'm not sure, because yeah, but Lizzie Borden is the bad guy, not the good guy. So eventually, Sheriff Border makes this. So okay, he gets the clues in his head. So the lawyer went on first, and then an hour later, he hears that at the lawyer's office that he had an appointment at 3:50, and then he calls to the owner of the other plant, the slaughterhouse, and he said, "Yeah, they had an appointment 5 o'clock." Okay. Then he says, "Okay," to his secretary, "I'm going on a hunch here." Okay. He's driving towards the old slaughterhouse because he believes that something happened to these two people. Then eventually he sees a dead body. I believe David's wife or something hanging there, and he immediately starts to, and he sees Dave's the deputy's car, and he's immediately saying, "Okay, King County, can you bring some deputies? We need some deputies. Will you send some?" "Yeah, no problem. No problem, Chief. We'll send them right away." Okay, so he goes in alone, of course, because he knows Lizzie is in the neighborhood because he saw a car from the kids, the teens. She's with the teens. He goes in to find his daughter. Eventually, he shoots Lester. Buddy runs away. He takes his daughter, but then Lester stabs him in the back. And then again, she shoots Lester in the heart region. He goes back. And still, he's alive. Okay? He's still chasing them. Her father is not dead yet. She can help him still, but she can't take out the knife because it's dangerous to take out a knife if you're wounded. Because before I do this, so Lester is following them. Eventually, Lester is standing in front of the car, and he thought she wouldn't do it. Eventually, she does, and just drives right over Lester and kills him. And then you think, okay, so the movie's done. So Buddy just escaped. No, Buddy was in the back seat of the car, takes the blade, twirls it, so probably killing the sheriff, and then taking it out, and then you see this blade stopping right before in her neck, and the movie ends. So this final girl didn't survive. It was a bleak ending. The bad guys won mostly, but there's a scene in there that is this true? I mean, when Lester is having Liz Borden on the table where he cut up pigs, he says that a good butcher, has to have straight hands, and he sees hands like this, like shaking like hell, and he knows to know anatomy. Now, apparently, with a human, the top of your fingertips are the most sensitive areas. You can cut open your belly, and if you won't feel that as much if you cut up your finger. Now, personally, I've been out fishing, on sea, and I got a hook multiple times in the front of my fingers. Yes, it hurts, but I think I got cuts all over by being I have aquariums and I'm always sharp rocks and I get cuts in my fingers. It's annoying, yeah, but it's not. I don't want somebody to fucking cut my belly open. What the fuck was that kind of? I mean, I never heard of that. I mean, what? Uh, movie logic, movie anatomy. Yeah, the movie. Listen, the positives of the movie are the buddy. If he had to nose the pig nose and then a scar or something, and then doing that sound that he does. Now it's almost cute how he does that. Like, yeah, it's and it affects the killer's brutality. The weapon, that's something else. The giant axe cleaver, let's call it that, an axe cleaver, is pretty cool, and he's gonna hurt a lot of people with that, and he does. You've got gore, you get to see kills, and if you don't see the kill properly you can see it afterward because they're all hung on these hooks where they hang the pigs on, and they start to push the pigs forward, but in this case they're all dead people. Like I said, deputy's arm chop, that was good because the arm was so bleeding so hard it was squirting out, and he was sitting like this on the ground and he kept squirting out, and Buddy didn't do anything to him. He just took his hand that he cut off with the gun, and he dropped his hand against nice next to his body, and he was still alive. I think he just wanted to bleed him out. And then of course the kill with the lawyer, his head getting pressed and squeezed. That was a particularly nasty death. But for the rest of this movie, the acting is okay. It's I use the word mediocre. This movie is just that, mediocre. It gets a 5.1 on IMDb. I give it a 5. It's probably the last time I'm gonna see it. It's a mediocre slasher movie that if you've never seen this slasher movie, you should watch it, because if a slasher fan you never seen this one, it does it it will be good enough. You're also gonna be like but it's gonna be good enough to see this through. Yeah, it's gonna be good enough to see this through. There's always something happening with Buddy the pigface, but Lester, Buddy the pigface Lester. There's always something happening, and that's cool. There are a lot of bodies. I mean, yeah, like 6, 8, at least around 10 kills. So you, you have to see a lot of people dying. More even, I think, almost 15 kills. Yeah. So the movie keeps you busy. The movie doesn't get tame or boring, because that would be frustrating, especially with the fact that it's a little bit mediocre, the movie. Like I said, you have some good things. The acting is somewhat okay. You have bad actors. You have good actors. The teens were kind of annoying. Yeah, were kind of annoying, and the girls were like, her dad gives his daughter straight instructions not to go outside that party. They can go to the party, but this okay. We go to the party, but then there's a power failure. Oh yeah, and it's lightning outside. Let's, you know what? Let's go to the slaughterhouse, the condemned slaughterhouse, where nobody is, and shoot a movie. And what kind of movie it is? I mean, just a guy going closer with this stupid mask. You can see the eyes, and then you can see her. Oh, I mean, yeah. And then you get a 80s dance scene, and that's something I always like. It's so corny and cheesy. Usually the women are dancing like this, right? So okay, or like this. You see that even today. But then the men are dancing like this. going, they're going crazy. I think. I mean, uh, if that if some guy would come up to me like that, I'll be like chopping the nuggets. No, but in any case, I like 80s dancing. Sorry, that's one of the reasons why I like Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis. Although a fairly dull affair if it comes to kills, it does have a good atmosphere, and uh, at the end, the killer does give some tension, but the best part is then the disco scene with Jamie Lee Curtis and the guy Nick, and just doing their disco dance is just great. It's just great. But in any case, this movie gets a mediocre uh, point for me. It's a five, straight to the middle. I recommend it if you've never seen this one before. I would still recommend it. It's a movie that keeps you going. It's not stale. You get, like I said, you have 15 kills, and these 15 kills are not killed in the last 30 minutes of the movie. No, they're killed all through the movie. So and you have some gory kills with good practical effects. And it's I'm not a big fan of. I mean, I didn't think he was intimidating, Buddy, but maybe for some people he is. The weapon was intimidating, but you know, Buddy should have a pig nose or something like that, and that would make him intimidating. And using those angry pig noises, that I mean, that would make him, in my opinion, a creepier killer. So subscribe. See you next time. And let's make some more horror fun, right? Bye.